KlawVlogs entry number
3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, a refund.
Week 3 is come and gone, so it's time for another Klog entry from yours truly. I know this one's a little bit late. I have been caught up on a few things, so I will explain what's been going on and just why it's a little bit late and some things I've got planning that are going to happen soon. So first off, the reason it is a little bit late is that recently I finally started my classes down here during the college program. Yes, since it is a college program, I do take a class for it called Corporate Communications. It's a 4-hour class. It lasts from 1:30 to 5:30 every Monday. Now, some of you are probably thinking that is unbearable time to wait for a class. You can barely stand 1 hour. But actually, it was a pretty interesting class. I mean, that 4 hours went by pretty well. They give you a couple breaks in between, and the instructor in there was really good, really knowledgeable, kept your attention the whole time. So you're definitely not just sitting there listening to a long spiel for 4 hours unstopped. So it was pretty interesting. I liked it pretty well. Second thing is that my schedule is starting to get a little bit more packed in here and there. Now I think that Disney is realizing that I'm a safe safari driver. They're starting to give me more hours here and there, which is definitely a good thing. More pay for me, actually. But, so yeah, with that extra time, that means it gives me less time to actually record anything. And if I'm working longer hours, sometimes, well, that usually means I might be taking a nap in the evening longer just because I'm that worn out from all the driving all day. But still, I didn't forget about this one, so that's definitely a good plus. So about some of the things that have been going around here. I've still been doing my big world showcase tour through Epcot. Been stopping at all the restaurants there. The last one I stopped at was actually a sit-down restaurant in the Morocco section, where usually you'll find Aladdin and Jasmine standing. There's a place called the Restaurant Marrakesh. Now, it was a really interesting place and how I got in there, so here's what happened. I was going into the area where the restaurant was, and since it was just me going in there, I didn't know if I had to make a reservation or something like that. So I asked the ladies standing out front, do I have to do anything like that? And what they did, they made a special fast pass for me to just walk straight into the restaurant and be seated immediately. Apparently what they did, I told them my first name, and they took this little card and wrote it in Arabic. So this is apparently what my name looks like in Arabic. Who knew? And the funny thing was, right when I walked in, all I did was just hold this card up and they said, "Is your name Keston?" Apparently it is! So I walked straight in, the atmosphere was really interesting. Got to have a really nice dinner with a big roasted lamb shank, these beef rolls for appetizers, white rice, and a nice Coca-Cola to wash it all down. It was pretty nice. I enjoyed it pretty well. Kind of pricey, but it is really good stuff in there from what I've seen. And on a side note, one of the next places I'm wanting to hit, if I can actually get in there, is actually in the Japan section. That's one of the few places I've been really curious about. It's up above the Mitsukoshi store I've been mentioning before. So in the same temple, up on the second level, is the actual sit-down restaurant where everyone makes the reservations. And I've just been really curious as to how, if at all, how much different that the Japanese cuisine would be from like a Chinese restaurant like the Nine Dragons in Epcot. So I might just try that out later to see what's going on with it. Another interesting event that happened to me recently is that I've discovered that there is another YouTube personality that is working in the Kilimanjaro safaris. It was just by happenstance that I heard this guy talking about his YouTube shows, and then immediately I knew who he was. If you are watching around YouTube recently or have been looking up videos about the Disney College program, you've probably heard the name ryanodisneyshow. He's a really famous guy who's been doing all these shows about the Disney College program over the years. And he was talking about his recent shows, how he's going to be planning some through Christmas and everything. And when he was talking about that, immediately just the thought caught to my mind, because I knew his name was Ryan O'Neal, but it just never crossed my mind that he was actually the Ryan O that was from ryanodisneyshow. So it was really a nice thing to hear that I've got another YouTube personality working with me in Kilimanjaro Safari. So I'm curious as to how his safaris actually are if I ever get a chance to ride in one of his trucks. Oh, and another thing that I discovered in Magic Kingdom. I thought this was interesting, but at the same time it was kind of creepy in a way. The main show that they have out in front of Cinderella's castle every day, where they have like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy, and all these characters come out. The thing about Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy now, they can talk. I'm dead serious. Their eyes are blinking, their mouths are moving up and down now. I mean, there actually looks like they're talking during that whole show, and at first I'm like, oh my gosh, they can actually do this now, and at the same time I was like, oh, this is a little bit unsettling. I've never seen this happen before. But I think that does show how Disney is finally improving their shows there and making things a lot more interactive and more realistic with the guests and everything. I just thought that was really neat. On a side note, I've been getting word that some people are actually making the trip down to see me in Animal Kingdom, which, that's great news for me to hear. I'm definitely looking forward to finding one of you all, even if I'm not on a truck, if I can just spot you all in one of the other land positions that are working outside of Kilimanjaro. That would definitely be a treat for me to see one of you all. So if you find me, just remember to say that phrase, LK sent me, and I know you've been watching the Klogs, and I'll definitely get a kick out of it. Oh, and there's another opportunity that I'm going to be probably using to meet anyone if they try to come down at a later time. If you've probably been keeping up with Disney, you've heard that Magic Kingdom is going through a phase right now called Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. It's where anyone can come in after the park is closed up to have this big, safe Halloween time in Magic Kingdom where everything is transformed, everyone is handing out candy and things like that. Well, I'm planning on going on one of these nights. I'm not sure which night yet, but I'm pretty much going to be going to one of these Halloween parties at some point. I've already got myself a costume picked out as well as somebody I'm going to be dressing up as. Probably in my next Klog I'll be revealing what that costume is. I'll be interested to see what kind of guesses you all have to think what I might be dressing up as, so if you have any guesses, and logical guesses, or just some funny guesses actually, just put them in the comments below and I'll be interested to see what it is or how close somebody can get to what I'm going to be dressing up as. But yeah, I'll probably be sometime in October when I finally go to one of these Halloween parties. I'll be dressing up in the Magic Kingdom, and if any of you all decide to come down, why don't you try and dress up in something as well. It doesn't have to be like traditional Halloween. Could be a cosplay of some kind. That'll be interesting to find. So, yeah, next week I'll be revealing what my costume will be. And by that time I'll actually have a better quality camera than this webcam I'm using right now. I'll actually be using a camcorder by then, so I'll actually be able to take that camera through the parks more and to be able to film certain things that I wasn't able to do before. I'm also getting ready to perform for my Night of Stars audition. That's the big talent competition between all the college program students down here in Disney. My audition happens next week at Wednesday, and right now I am really racking my brains as to which song I should use, because apparently the song you audition with has to be the same song you use in your competition if you actually make it through. So I'm trying to think of a good one here. If any of you all think of a song or have an idea for me, you can leave that in the comments as well. Doesn't have to be specifically a Disney song. It could be any song in general that you think I might be good at performing. So just go ahead and give me some ideas. I'll be curious to see what you all come up with, and maybe, who knows, I might just pick one of them. So that's about all I've got for this KlawVlogs entry this time. My animal hit count is 0, thankfully, in the safari ride, so thankfully I still get to talk to you about this, because if there actually was a hit count, I probably wouldn't even be having this job to begin with. But everything's going well in the safari ride. I'm finally getting adjusted to everything, managing my money and all that stuff, so I'm really starting to get into the whole routine here, I think. Hopefully I can keep that up. But in the meantime, I'll be waiting to hopefully see some of you all in the next coming weeks. I'll be here in my apartments just messing with my few things and playing with this new set of Dragon Ball Z playing cards that I found the other day in the Mitsukoshi store. So until next time, folks, this is Lucario's Claw, signing out. Oh, and before I forget, let's hit the random moment button to see what happens this time. Oh boy, maybe I shouldn't have hit that button so Uh-oh.